Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be learning how to create a random codes generator with the help of only JavaScript. So a small notice that people are commenting me, that my subscribers are commenting me to create and continue the React Native projects from beginners to advanced playlist that I started maybe 5 to 6 months ago, but I only completed 3 or maybe 4 projects. I think so it's 3 projects, but I didn't continue it because of some projects that I was working on. I didn't get time to complete the React Native projects playlist. So people are requesting me to create a e-commerce application with React Native. Alright guys, this is going to be the JavaScript last video. We'll continue it after the React Native e-commerce application video. So the next video will be on e-commerce app with React Native full course. After watching the video, I'm saying you that it will be worth it. Your time will be worth for waiting it. It might take some time, maybe a week, for coming the video for launching the e-commerce application with React Native, as I will be preparing it before creating the video. We will be learning how to create the e-commerce app from scratch with the admin panel, with all the functionality that e-commerce app needs to get started. After watching it, you will be able to land a job for creating an e-commerce application with React Native. Alright guys, that's it. Let's jump right into the video and let's see right now how can we actually create a random codes generator with the help of JavaScript. So as you can see over here, I do have a code. I do have an HTML code already prepared. So the source code for this project, for the JavaScript project, all source code will be provided in the description below. You can just download and you're free to make any changes. So as you can see over here, I do have some stylings and I do have a font or some link, but I will be explaining you what I have done in HTML code. Then we will directly jump to our JavaScript code to add the functionality to make this random codes generator work. So over here, I do have a div which is having a class of a container. In that container div, I do have another div with the ID of code box. That means the white background color that you can see over here, that's our code box div, in which I do have a paragraph which is taking a font or some left quote icon that you can see over here, a span tag with the class of quote heading, which you can see over here. This is our first paragraph which is having a class of a quote, is going to be our first line of our quote box. The second paragraph, which is having a class of source, is going to be our author name, which you can see over here is David Allen. In some of our variable, I will say our JSON data that we have written manually is going to be having a citation and a year. So for that, we have taken a span tag with the class of citation and a year that you can see on the second line of the quote box. And after our quote box ends, the div ends, we are creating a button with the ID of load code to generate the next code in our array. And we just named it as next code, as you can see over here. And once I click on this button, nothing is happening because we haven't yet added any kind of a JavaScript code to make it work. So now let's jump to our JavaScript code to add a functionality to our HTML to make our random codes generator finally work. So over here, I do have a variable with the name of quotes, which is an array. In this array, I do have multiple objects with the key and its value. In some of the object, we do have quote and source, but in some objects, I do have quote, source, and citation. In some quotes, I do have in an object even an year added. So for that, we have created this span class. But if you're not having, we're not going to display anything. But if you're having the actual citation and year, we will display it. So this is our array of an object with all of our random codes data included in it. So let's collapse it because it's not needed now. So now over here we have created two functions. The first function is to randomly select a quote value and return a random quote object from the quotes array that we have created above, as you can see over here. So for that, we have created a function with the name of getRandomQuotes. The second function that we have created is having a name of print code function to call the get random code function and stores the returned code object in a variable, constructs a string containing the different properties of the code object. I will explain you in a simple way. The print code function is going to be calling our get random code function and is going to be displaying, is going to be fetching the data with that random number and will be displaying that data from our quotes array of an object that we do have. Will be displaying it in a HTML form. That all works is going to be done by the print code function. So just let's write the code in our get random code function. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get a random number from our var quotes array of an object. So for that we're going to create a variable and we'll name the first variable as random number. And we are going to be using the math.floor method over here. In this math.floor method, we are going to be using the math.random method to generate a random number that will be multiplied by the length that we do have in our quotes array of an object. So we're going to select the variable name, that is quotes, and its length. That's it, perfect. The second, we are going to create a variable which is going to be for the generating the random code. And in this, we are going to be selecting our quotes array of an object variable that is known as quotes. We're going to go with our array, and in this, we are going to be generating, we are going to be fetching the data that is in the index number that is generated by the math.random function. So for that, we're going to select our random number variable. So now what is happening over here, I will explain you in detail. We created a random quote variable in which we are selecting our quotes variable, and we are saying them to fetch the data. These are the index 0, 1, 2. We are saying the index number that we got with our math.random function. We are selecting that in our array to fetch that specific data from our quotes variable. It's that simple. Then what we are going to do is I'm going to return our random code. That's it, perfect. So now we are all set with our get random code function. Now let's jump right into our function for our printing our code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a first variable for quotes, and I'm going to call our get random quotes function over here. And the second, I'm going to create a variable for quote container, which is going to select, in which we are going to select our quote container. So document dot get element by ID, and what's the ID of our quote container? That is quote hyphen box. We have already selected it, and now we are going to be creating a third variable, and we are going to name it as quote string. So in this variable, we are going to be writing the code to fetch that data from the data that is fetched from our get random code function in a variable called random quote. We are going to get the data from our random quote variable and display it in a HTML form in our front end. So for doing that, we are going to go with this symbol. I don't know what is this symbol called. We're going to go with this symbol, and in which we're going to call our paragraph, which is going to be having a class of code. You can just follow what I'm doing right now, because it's a simple thing. What we're doing is we're going to go with the same HTML code, but in this simple course that we have created over here, and then we'll show you, I'll show you further what we're going to do, how can we get the data fetched. So paragraph with the class of code, and then we're going to create an I with a class for our font awesome icon, that is our far quote left. So now what we need, I have created a span which is having a class of quote heading. Simple, right? And now we need to display the heading of our quote. So for displaying that, we're going to be using the dollar symbol with the curly braces over here. And now I will be selecting my quotes variable that I've created that is just calling my get random quote function. So I'll be selecting quotes variable, and in .that I'm going to select the name of the key that is there in my actual quotes variable. So that is quote. So quotes dot quote to get the title of our quote. It's that simple. And now after this curly braces end, I will be just closing my span tag. Amazing, guys. And after this span tag, I will be closing my paragraph tag. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be ending it with a semicolon, and after that I'm going to be selecting my code container dot inner HTML just to change the code that I have written over here and change it to the HTML format. So for that I'm going to go with inner HTML, and after that I'm going to select the code string to replace it with. It's that simple. Let's save it. Let me refresh. And let me click on next code. As you can see, it's not working because we need to add a function to our next code. So what we are going to do over here is that we're going to be getting our button's ID that is called load code. So for doing that, we're going to go with document.getElement by ID. And what's the ID that we are having in our button? That is known as load code. Simple. And I'll be adding an event listener to this button. When the user clicks on this button, what we actually need to do is we need to call a function that is called print code, and we are going to set it false. Simple. Let me refresh it and let me click on next code, and as you can see, the next code is generated. Once I click on next code again, the next code is generated, but it's only a title. Now what we need is we need to generate the actual source, citation, and the year, right? But before doing that, we are going to be making a random code generator to generate the random codes after 5 milliseconds or 1 millisecond, to generate it randomly within a time other than clicking on next code. But if the user wants to change it fast, the user click on next code, the codes will be changed. So for doing that, what we are going to do over here is that we are going to be selecting window dot, we are going to set an interval time, and the interval time, in the interval time method, we're going to call a function. The function is going to be calling our print code method that we've created above, right? And as you can see, now it's generating it so fast. Now we need to add the actual, sorry, I apologize. Now what we need is we need to add the actual time limit. So we need to generate it in 1500 milliseconds. So as you can see now, it's just changing the code manually in between the 1500 milliseconds. Perfect. So now, as you have seen what I have done over here in our code string variable, I just went with this simple, and after that I just called the data, I just fetched the data that is included in my array with its name, the key name, that is course.code. Same thing I will be doing for generating my actual source, citation, and years. So I'm going to be fast forwarding this video to save our time. So after my paragraph ends, I'm going to create another paragraph with the class of source. Perfect. So now as you can see, the source is being displayed over here. That means the author is being displayed over here. Now what we need is we are going to be using the if and else loop. If the citation is available, we are going to display the citation, but if it is not available, what we actually need to display. So for that, we are going to be using the if loop. So if course dot if the course.citation is available, we are going to be running this if loop. So for that, we're going to select our quote string plus equal to, we're going to be using the same symbol that we created above, and now we're going to create a span tag with a class of citation, and in this we're going to fetch our citation from our quotes. It's that simple. And now I'll close my span tag. Alright, and now my if loop is called, and after that I'm going to run another if loop for our year. So if course.year plus equal to, okay, plus equal to, if, sorry, I just forget to add a curly braces. We need to add a curly braces, and then we are going to go with quote string plus equal to, we're going to go with the same symbol, a span tag with the class of and year, and now we need to fetch the year. So course.year. It's that simple, and now I'll end my span tag. And I need to actually end a paragraph tag that we created over here. So I'll be ending my paragraph tag. Perfect. And now I'm going to show else. Now if it is available, I'm going to display the data, but if it is not available, what I actually need to do is I don't want to display anything. So for that, I'm going to be selecting my code container dot inner html, and I'll set it to the quote string. So now what's going to happen, if it is there, if it is available, we're going to display it. If it is not available, of course it's not going to be displayed automatically. So we don't need to write a code for not displaying it. It's that simple. So as you can see, the random quotes generator with JavaScript is ready. Once I click on next quote, as you can see, the next quote is being generated. I'll just change the time to be not that faster. So I'll just change it to 1000. Let's add one more 0. Perfect. So now once I click on next quote, as you can see, the next quote is being generated. If I'll wait for some time, the next quote will be generated automatically after 15,000 milliseconds. Yeah. So let's wait for 15,000, and as you can see, the random quotes is changed automatically after 15,000 milliseconds. So that's it, how you can create a random quotes generator with JavaScript. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you like the video, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the notification bell for more amazing videos like this. Till then, peace.